So I have a confession to make. Um, I feel as though I haven't been entirely truthful with all of you. So here it is. For those of you who do know my story, I created some businesses in 2015. It's all true. I've done very well in my businesses. However, with that being said, that has been my income through those businesses was also supplemented through my involvement in the cannabis industry or marijuana growing. So, um, you know, I talk a lot about financial literacy and financial institutions and actually managing finances properly for abundance and prosperity, which is all super important and very relevant. However, I just feel like I need to level with you guys and, kind of inform you that like I feel a little bit like a cheater. I feel like I've kind of cheated my way through life because of my involvement in the marijuana industry and because of what that has been and allowed me to do. Now, there's several like things to this. Now, first of all, like to be where I'm at in my business and career has taken deep, energetic work. I mean, it's not like every single cannabis grower got rich. In fact, 90% of them failed miserably. And because it's a hard business, it's really tough. If you've never done that or been a part of it or been around the plant, it's a very tough industry to be successful in. There's really only a few percent that really do create the amount of wealth that I have through that. So um and that doesn't mean that like I haven't been successful in my businesses. I've been extremely successful. I had literally helped one of the largest nightclub companies launch a new nightclub here in Denver, right next to Temple. If you've ever heard of Temple nightclub, I mean, it's literally the largest nightclub in all of Denver. So the nightclub that we launched last summer was right next door to Temple. So it's a direct competitor. And in fact, the group that I helped launch that nightclub for, they actually own the building that Temple operates in. So these are super high level real estate investors and nightclub operators. There's no doubt about, the fact that where I'm at has taken an incredible amount of work energetically in my like business and the way that I relate to entrepreneurship. However, like I just feel a little bit like phony when I tell my story because I can't really like disclose the full extent of like how I made my money. So I don't even know if I'm gonna put this online, but I do need to like share this. Um and like here's how it kind of relates to today is that like I feel like I would like to share my struggle because in the last 2 years, back in 2021, I stopped growing completely, growing cannabis, that is, not as a human being, obviously, still growing as a person. But with that being said, I did like end my career and my relationship to cannabis. And um like I basically just took on real estate full time and have become a full-time real estate investor as well as a Reiki healer, and like have really worked on making these two my main sources of income. Now, the my plans for creating sustainable income for myself through Reiki and real estate have not worked out entirely as I predicted. I mean, I did pull a solid $150,000 off of real estate last year alone by just simply refinancing and borrowing more against the properties. With that being said, I I basically have been supplementing my income now. Instead of with cannabis, I've been using construction. So I am back in manual labor, and I've even been helping out some friends with their grows and consulting on cannabis cultivation projects. as well as designing a high elevation, high altitude gardening course for production, specifically of like melons, cucumbers, tomatoes, squash, types of like a high altitude gardening course, so that people can actually cultivate resilient gardens that are sustainable and actually produce food. It's one thing to grow one tomato, it's one thing to grow one squash, it's one thing to grow a head of kale, but like to actually like produce food from a small space at high elevation, now that's a challenge. And I've taken a lot of the things that I know from cultivating cannabis and from my involvement in the industry and have applied them to building greenhouses up at high elevation and b- building soil, fermenting bokashi and other types of Korean natural farming ferments so that like these gardens actually produce food that we can eat. And moreover, the like we can take control of our food supply chain, because today, even if you get organic produce, I mean, if it's not labeled 100% organic, there's chances are that there are herbicides, fungicides, and pesticides used in those growing methods, as well as ammonium nitrates, as well as other chemical fertilizers in the growing process. So it's very important to me to like show people how to work with these food webs and food systems and soil systems so that people have access to cheap, clean, healthy, nutrient dense produce. And so today, what I want to do is I actually would like to share some of my struggle. Excuse me. A lot of my like sharing on Instagram has really been all my wins and social media in general. I really only share my wins and when I'm feeling super good and when I'm feeling super high vibrational. And today, honestly, I would like to share, some of my lower vibrational aspects and some of my struggle and just like the what it's taken for me to actually get to where I'm at. you know Back in 2018, I dealt with basically getting really close to a foreclosure on the properties that I do own. I got really, really close. I was probably about 15 to 20 days away from actually foreclosing on both properties and declaring bankruptcy and basically losing everything that I'd worked for the last like 10 years. So now, with that being said, I got myself out of it. Okay. I literally used short-term rentals, and I was able to learn financial education in the sense of I had a home. I had bought two homes, but I wasn't like renting either of them out. So I didn't understand the concepts of being a landlord or passive income or how to actually make money in real estate. And so that has been a huge part of my journey. Now that I'm not cultivating cannabis anymore, and I'm not supplementing my income with that as a side hustle, it's been a very, very big struggle for me. I've been, basically barely making ends meet. I mean, I'm like basically just making enough money to cover the mortgages, let alone the other utilities and expenses and groceries that go along with living life. And so it's been tough, and that's honestly why I haven't been sharing much on social media recently. I've been a little bit embarrassed. Like my plans, they didn't work. I had a really great plan. I took the house that was basically empty, and I remodeled it. I refinanced, remodeled. It looks beautiful. Oh my God. It's just gorgeous home. And the Airbnb really just wasn't even making enough to cover the mortgage. So since then, I've switched gears and I've turned it into a long-term rental. So at least my tenants now are paying me, an amount that covers that mortgage, plus, a few $100s a month. It's really not as good as I would like it to be, but it is making money. It's positive cash flow out of the property overall. So, and in my book, as far as financial literacy goes, that's a win. Okay. But is it the win that I want? Is it the win that I'm looking for? No. And honestly, like, it's interesting because what this has shown me, it's really shown me my lack of confidence and my lack of self-esteem. And I realized that I actually don't really have super high self-esteem with myself. I really kind of secretly hate myself, to be honest. I realized that like my self-talk is all like kind of focused around um like being a failure and feeling like one and not feeling good enough and not feeling worthy and not feeling like, and that's where I kind of started this off by I started this off by saying I've been cheating because I feel a little bit like a fake and a phony. You know, I feel like I present myself as this person who has done so well in business. And in many ways, like I said, I have, but I've also been kind of like not playing by the rules. And now that I am playing by the rules, I I'm not making it and I'm not succeeding. I'm just barely getting by. And it's hard for me to show up in integrity. And it's hard for me to show up like feeling like I really have something of value to offer people who follow me and who resonate with my message and with what I have to say. So, I do own a couple $1 million in real estate and I'm only 32 years old. And like, I understand that that's big and I understand that that's like an achievement and an accomplishment, but like I'm I'm playing by the book and honestly, I don't want to like I know that I could literally easily pick up growing weed again and be super successful and have enough money to make all this stuff work, but I don't want to. And honestly, fuck growing weed. It's literally a pigeonhole. It's literally like the people who are successful at it, they're not nearly as successful as you think. Their most of their money just goes to their expenses and their operating costs anyway. And there's really no leverage in it. Like it costs a lot. There's a huge barrier to entry. It costs a lot of money just to get the gear and run the op, etc. And yeah, you see a lot of money coming in, but it all goes out just as fast as it comes. And it's fake. It's just, it's fake. And honestly, what I'm after is real shit, real tangible assets, real tangible cash flow that is not like, and I guess where I'm going with this is that what I'm realizing about that whole industry and about people who are involved in it, even the really, really successful ones, the people who have a shit ton of money and who you look at and you think that they're killing it, dude, they're living in a vibration of lack and scarcity. Because guess what? Like this, my motto and mantra ever since stopping growing weed, even leading up several years before, is that money is too easy to make to break the law. Like, and it really is. Like money is so abundant in our society and culture. It's too easy to make money to break the law. I mean, this is kind of an idea that I'm stealing from Robert Kiyosaki a little bit, but it's true. And like I said, even the people who are really killing it and making a ton of money in cannabis, great for them. But realistically, like the fact that they think that they have to break the law to make that happen, they're living in lack. They're living in scarcity. They're living in they're just not, it's just not a prosperous way to live. And you can see this in how they deal with people, especially too some of the most successful people I know in the industry. I always paid my workers extremely well. And part of the reason why I shut down my op is because I was paying everyone so much. And honestly, I wanted to. I was a conscious choice that I was making. I wanted to pay a really livable wage, not just a livable wage, but a wage that people could buy their own houses and have make their own opportunities and create their own businesses. I wanted to provide that. And honestly, I was living by the principle, if you want to receive, you must give. And I've gotten so much. And especially to like I know that I've gotten a lot. So I wanted to share that with other people. I genuinely wanted the people who work for me to be extremely prosperous, not just like scraping by and with a free place to live or whatever, So it's really important to me that the people in my circle are prosperous and feel like they are a part of it and feel like they are contributing and like are reaping the benefits of what they're involved in as well, not just me. And so part of the reason why I had to stop, or why I chose to stop, was because I was just like paying way too much money in my overhead. And ultimately, like, I don't regret it because it actually brought me to stop growing. And like, ironically, after I stopped growing, I had one of the best years of business in my entire career. I made almost $300,000 without, selling a pound of weed or doing anything illegal whatsoever. Like I said, I helped launch that new nightclub. I refinanced a house. I remodeled it. Like, things were doing really well, and I unfortunately put like a lot of my money into fixing up these houses that it really needed to happen, pretty much unavoidable. So like, and because I refinanced, basically my mortgage on one of the places doubled. So like, my operating expenses right now for just the mortgages is almost $7,000 a month. And basically I'm making that without cannabis cultivation supplementing me whatsoever. Um, and it feels really good. It feels good for me to have that type of responsibility, and to be actually like still on top of it, here almost 2 years later, a year and a half later, and still be making those payments right on time, almost. I've made a bunch of late payments, and honestly, like, it's really triggered some depression and my insecurity around losing everything is super activated right now. Like, I feel like I'm on the brink of losing it all. And it's really uncomfortable. It's really triggered some depression in me, and it's triggered some, like I said, low self-esteem. But you know what I'm realizing is that low self-esteem has always kind of been there. And I think I've used like sort of not playing by the rules to avoid dealing with my low self-esteem. And now that I don't have that crutch that's like helping me, it's really surfacing in this really intense way. Like, I've had some really gnarly um instances in the last like couple months, just feeling like I'm a failure, feeling like kind of like a piece of shit, feeling like, I cheated, and feeling um like I don't deserve any of this, and I don't deserve abundance or wealth or prosperity. And the reason why I bring this up is because, like, you hear people all the time talk about the law of attraction and how money is just an energy, and money is just a reflection of your own self-esteem and your subconscious thoughts. And while all that is true, it doesn't necessarily feel good to hear that. um like, when you don't have anything, and when you feel like you're such a failure, and when you feel like there's like all the odds are stacked against you, and there's really not a lot going for you. And it really doesn't feel good to hear that, like, on top of that, like, your bank account is a reflection of your own inner dialogue. And like, I guess the reason why I wanted to share this with you is that, like, you're not alone. You're not alone in this, because, like, even though I've created all this wealth and prosperity and abundance, not only for myself but for others as well, um like, I still feel that way. I still feel, and I don't know if it'll ever go away, to be honest. It's just something that I'm constantly working on. And like, I thought that when I bought these houses, I'd made it. I thought that, like, some of my work was done, so to speak, with all this. And I'm just realizing so clearly now that the work is never over. There's always another layer to this. There's always another layer to peel back. And I even suspect that even after I make my first million, like in cash, liquid cash, and maybe of my second million. I like, there's always going to be another layer to this, right? There's always going to be another layer to dissolve of worthiness, of that feeling of like, do I really deserve this? Am I really like deserving? Am I really worthy of this? And like, that's, I just like, I feel like it's important for me to share that, because I just know how you feel. I know how it is. I know what it's like to feel like your expenses are just growing and like expanding, and your revenue and your like cash flow is contracting, and it's really shitty place to be. It really sucks, and it really, like, even if you are someone who has high self-esteem, it's really something that can really trigger low self-esteem and doubt and uncertainty quite so easily. So yeah, I just wanted to share, that like, I don't have it figured out. And and like, I don't think anyone does. Even like Grant Cardone, these billionaires, maybe they do have it all figured out, right? But like, it was interesting. Actually, I was watching Undercover Billionaire with Grant Cardone, and you can just see him just start to spiral down into this weird little place. And man, it was actually really cool to watch Grant Cardone. I mean, I look up to him as he's just a badass dude, and to see him actually struggle through some of the same things that I do, it really made me connect with him more like empathically. And it made me feel like, wow, this guy really does actually know what this is like. And he really does understand what it's like to be in this position and like work and work yourself out of it, and although I don't necessarily agree with all of his principles, they work for him, and like, um like, the reason why I don't agree with all of his principles is because I was one of those people that like when I had the money coming in real strong and it was flowing a lot, I just like dropped the energetics piece and just like went into like hard work. My whole family, we are fucking workers. Like, we will outwork anyone. But see, here's the thing that like no one tells you, because like everyone promotes hard work, and hard work is great. Hard work is absolutely necessary for success, but hard work is not everything, right? Like smart work is really like the key to leverage. And when I say leverage, like, I mean like how do you scale your efforts 10 100x from where you are without 10xing your time, right? Because there's only so many hours in a day or in a week or in a month that you can actually physically work. So like the the whole concept of entrepreneurial energetics sort of revolves around being able to scale your effort, scale your energy, scale your effort and energy without having to put in more time and more hard work. Hard work is not going to get you there entirely. Hard work is very important for the discipline, for showing up every day and being consistent. But like, entrepreneurial energetics is all about like doing the work that doesn't look like work, so that like you can receive the abundance and the prosperity that you really are calling in and asking for. And I love the way that Joe Dispenza puts this, is like, you need to create from wholeness, like not like from there's something missing, but like from this place of it's already yours, because it is. Everything that you want and desire, it already exists in the quantum field in the form of a potential. And it's all about like hardwiring your brain and your thoughts and even your body, your autonomic nervous system, to respond, not to respond actually, to just be in the vibration of that abundance, and be in the vibration of that potential future, as if it has already happened now, that is already yours. And that's actually what really creates it. It's not the hard work. And so a lot of what my work has been, aside from keeping up with the bills, um, has been sort of like letting go of my own self-judgment around, oh, you're not working hard enough, or you're not doing this, or you're not doing that, or you piece of shit, like you should be doing this, or you could have done that better. And it's just like letting go and like being like, you know what? I'm just going to meditate for like an hour and really like think about what I want and think about who I want to be and think about and feel, not just think, but like really feel and embody the emotions and the smells and tastes and the essence of like what it's like to be that abundant person, the version of myself that has millions of dollars and hundreds of properties and cash flow coming in and six figures every month, that like just familiarizing myself with that reality now, and like actually feeling like it exists right here and now. And that's often contrasted by this feeling of like I'm a piece of shit and I'm not doing good enough and that I should be further along. And like, and that's the work, that's the practice. It's like catching yourself, being like, oh shit, I'm thinking about scarcity and lack and me not feeling complete and not feeling whole and feeling like there's something wrong with me, and like really consciously, right, shifting that self-judgment and shifting that to the person that I am, the wholeness and the trueness and the fullness of who I am. And realistically, like it almost sounds cliche. I almost don't like saying it like this, but it's like the essence of who you truly are. And like who you truly are is a soul. And souls are a part of all of the energy that created the universe, as I refer to as prime source energy. Like you are prime source. You're not a part of it, you are it. And like that's who you truly are, that's your true being. And like when you embrace that and the fullness of that, that's where we can create from wholeness. So I have a lot to say on this, and honestly, I need to maybe continue to organize my thoughts on it. But I just wanted to like, can have this little confession moment where just can get really real with you and let you know that like, I'm not like really, I don't have it all figured out. I've been crying a lot, feeling like like a piece of shit, feeling like I don't really have what it takes, and feeling um like I'm gonna lose it all. And I've been feeling like just really down on myself, really hating on myself. I've been telling myself that I hate myself a lot. And it's work, and I've really really been struggling with this. And so I feel like I'm kind of at a little bit of a turning point. In fact, actually, the super moon, the full moon on Tuesday or Wednesday last week was a really big turning point for me. It really helped me feel like I'm starting to really embrace this new self, right? The self that I'm looking to create in the future. Sorry, I'm about to sneeze, maybe. Um, yeah, and honestly, like a part of that has been like I stopped smoking cannabis. I've been using cannabis heavily for about 15 years. And actually a lot of the deep work that I did to even buy these houses when I did, right? I became entirely sober for 3 years. No coffee. In fact, you see that cup right there? It's not coffee. It's actually tea mixed with coconut milk. And I don't drink coffee. Never have. I love coffee. I love the smell. I love the taste. But my body is super sensitive to caffeine. It's really, really sensitive. It feels like drugs. It feels like cocaine, to be honest. It feels very similar. Even very small amounts of caffeine. Like I do not understand how people drink coffee all day. Um, I like it. They must have insane tolerances or just be so used to it, or I'm just like super sensitive. But regardless, I like for 3 years, I didn't consume alcohol, cannabis, tobacco, what else? I mean, anything really, any like mind altering substance. I I just stayed clear away from it. I did drink some kombucha, not hard kombucha, like regular kombucha. Like, I mean, that would be like my drink of choice, if you will. But yeah, I really, really have been struggling with this feeling of like hating myself for being a failure. And it's been tough. So, um, I just want to let you know that you're not alone and that I know what it's like. And that's why I feel so compelled to teach entrepreneurial energetics, and why I feel so compelled to speak and teach and help people work their way towards their own liberation and financial freedom, because like I see that everyone is so uniquely talented and gifted, and our society is set up in a way that is really not made for people to thrive and prosper. It's made for people to be slaves to the system. And I really have worked hard at liberating myself from that. And honestly, the irony is, right, is that all these mortgages, all these liabilities that I've accrued have kind of sucked me back into the rat race, so to speak, and have sucked me back into disempowerment. And um like I'm creating from wholeness now. I've been stuck in this pattern for like 6 months, but I've broken it, and I'm very determined to continue. I'm very determined that uh to make it, and I'm determined to create an online business with a sales funnel and financial systems that actually like funnel money into my beingness and into my experience. And so, like, like I said, I've been feeling unworthy and like unqualified to teach this, but I'm also realizing that in many ways I'm the most qualified, because like I've like had it and lost it and had it and lost it and had it and lost it. And so I know what it takes to get there. And like, the key is to stay there. And that's something that I'm still working on. But that's where I feel that like my lessons in this and my teachings are so relatable, because they're real. They're not like, um, I was never given anything. I was never, I don't have, there's no trust fund. Like my dad, he worked a good like middle class job, but like no, he doesn't have a pension. I don't have like really anything supporting me right now other than myself and my thoughts and like my skills. So God, I'm just like close to sneezing. But um yeah, I I just like I just want to be real with you guys. I just want to be real. I just want you to know that I know what it's like and that it's not easy.